Hello, my name is Laura Smith, and I'm sitting here today with my new friend Lynn. Lynn is a student here at the university, and she's from Vietnam. Hi Lynn, so nice to meet you today. What are you studying here? What's your major? Finance, you say. I am not so good with numbers. And what made you choose your major? Helping your family business with bookkeeping and other financial matters certainly makes perfect sense, yes. Your English is very good. How long have you been in the United States? Since you've been here a little while, I'm curious, have you heard of Christianity? And what do you know about it? No, not really? If you have a few minutes, if you don't mind, I would love to share with you the story of Christianity. As you look around, you can see how everything around us is working together in harmony. The sun does what it's supposed to do, and without it, things would die. But too much of it would be bad, right? And trees do what they're supposed to do. And people breathe the oxygen that also does what it's supposed to do. And then some may think of rain as good and others think of it as bad, but without it, things would die also, right? It seems a little like the idea of yin and yang, doesn't it? Christians believe that all that we see, all that's happening around us, is product of one God who created all things and sustains all things. And everything that exists was made by this one God out of nothing, that nothing existed before he made it. In fact, Christians believe in only one God, but he has three functioning personalities. There is no separate God for the sun or separate God for the earth, nor are there any goddesses. Why is that? Because this one God is all-powerful. He does not have any need of anyone to supplement his power. So when God made the world, it was just like the way you would picture the perfect family. Everything was in complete harmony. Everything was peaceful and good. God started the human race with one man and one woman, and they were his family, and he was their father. He gave them the perfect world, and he loved them. God, his creation, and people were all in perfect harmony. And God asked only one thing, that the people would not eat from the fruit of one tree in the garden where they lived. Because he wanted them to have the ability to choose to love him, he gave them the ability to think and make their own decisions. Unfortunately, they did choose to eat that fruit. And then this one act broke the harmony between God and people, between God and his creation, between the man and the woman, and between people and the rest of creation. And everything seemed like it was lost, and people seemed alone, and that family was severely damaged. Because people had broken harmony, there's nothing that people could do to restore it. God could have chosen to abandon his family, but instead he sent his perfect son. After many generations, Jesus, part of God, made himself part human and lived on the earth. Only he could restore the harmony that had been lost. Jesus lived in obedience to God the Father's will, never doing any wrong. In God's timing, Jesus took all of that brokenness, all of the pain, all of the struggle, all of that disharmony onto his own body. And then holding all of that, he died, taking it all to the grave with him. This was the only way, the only thing the Father could accept to trade for us. And the Father did accept it. But that did not finish the restoration. That only paid for the damage. After Jesus died, 3 days later, he came back to life and he lives forever. The rest of that harmony is being restored one person who believes in Jesus at one time, until in the last days of history, the harmony of the entire creation will be fully restored. All things will be made new. And after those last days, those who are God's children will live with him forever. Becoming a child of God means believing with all your heart that Jesus is the Father's Son, that he came to earth to forgive us and restore a relationship with God. that he came back to life after after dying, and then accepting him as the ruler of your life. When you make that decision, your identity changes. You're still the same person, but you then know that you're a child of God. And being a child of God means you are his family, and there are many others around the world and throughout all of history who are also your family. They are your brothers and sisters. You now would have a new family, and you would belong. People would call you a Christian. And in a place where you've been trying to balance two cultures here at the university, it may be confusing to know exactly who you are. You may wonder how to live like a Christian. Christians have a book called the Bible that describes what being a child of God looks like and how you belong. It shows you how you now have a purpose, and everything God creates has a purpose. And it will assure you that while you should do your best in everything that you do, your real value is not based on what you do, but in who Jesus is and who you are because you belong to him. And going back to what I mentioned before, that because people broke the harmony, there's nothing that they could do to restore it. And also because God is all-powerful, he gives Christian the third part of himself, his spirit, to live this life. The fact that God is your Father at all, that is all that it takes to please him. He is not in need of anything from us. And there's nothing that we can do to please him, to earn his love for us. The Christian life is about the family relationship with God and other Christians. But just because he is your Father, he loves you. When you become a Christian, you do not lose who you are. Who you truly are is finally made clear. None of this means that you should no longer honor your family. You should maintain integrity and humility. In fact, all these ideas are very Christian ideas, but Christians have a higher Father above all, who is due our highest honor. And it is because of our love of him, not out of obligation, that we promote God's restorative harmony in these ways. Following Jesus could even make you a better daughter. Christians live out their purpose by telling other people about this life that they live with Jesus. Christians will struggle from time to time because of this faith, but the future is bright for us. There will be a literal end to all time, but this is the best thing ever. It means that Jesus will return for his family and make them live with him forever in a beautiful, perfectly harmonious place called heaven. This will be the end to anything that could ever break harmony again.